Welcome back. So the Public Works Department says it is one step closer to handing back land to dispossessed communities and families. Since 2019, Minister Patricia DeLille has ordered the release of over 27,500 hectares of land that are valued at nearly 300 million rand. Well, let's hear from the Minister herself, who's joining us live this morning. Minister DeLille, a good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for this morning, isn't it? Good morning to you. So they are...
Good morning.
Good morning, correct. So there were 3 pieces of official legislation essentially removing South Africans from their homes, and that was in the 20th century, right?
Yes.
How is government dealing with really what is a massive backlog at this point?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Yes, many people were dispossessed in terms of the 1913 Land Act. In 1994, government started a process and asked people to reclaim their land, and the cutoff date for that was 1998. So what we are dealing with now is the backlog of people that have applied for land restitution before 1998. And as you say, that in the past 2 financial years, because of the presidential advisory panel on land reform, we were all instructed by the president to speed up land reform. And land reform include land restitution, land redistribution, and also land tenure. So the process that I'm doing now for the 3 communities in the Western Cape and Mpumalanga and in the Northwest is part of that process. So my role is to then transfer the land to Minister Toka Dedisa of Rural Development and Land Reform, and she will then transfer that back to the claimant communities. So that is the process, Naledi.
Yeah. If we get into a little bit more detail, though, how does the Public Works Department then identify land that is released, comparable to what was taken from people?
Well, I have got an immovable asset register where all the land that was taken away, we are the custodian at national level. But then many of the provinces also have got land in their possession, and so does the municipalities. They also have land in their possession. So the 3 spheres of government must work together so that we can finalize the restitution claims that's so long outstanding. Many of the beneficiaries are dying. People are not there anymore. And it always makes it difficult then, you know, to do the verification. So the quicker government can hand back the land, the families can then utilize the land, and they can finally find some reconciliation because of the bad things that happened to them with the land dispossession, colonialism, and apartheid.
Yeah, well, you talk about why it's important for government to act quickly. What has taken so long? I mean, land reform has been an ongoing discussion. It's a political hotbed in our country as well, and yet it is happening incredibly slow.
Yes, I think the difference now in the 6th administration is that President Cyril Ramaphosa has signed performance agreements with all the ministers. And in all our performance agreements, the president set clear targets as to what must be achieved within the next 4 years, or 3 years that we still have got left of the term. And that in itself, I think it's motivating ministers to move quicker and faster. And we have seen the increase in the pace of land reform since 2019.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, the work now has to continue with Minister Toka Dedisa. I mean, any sort of time frames that you have put down there in your conversations with Minister Dedisa, and perhaps some of the work that you're doing in the other provinces?
Yes, I'm working very well together with Minister Dedisa. In fact, I have notified her that I've signed off these extra parcels of land right now, and then she must then do the rest. Minister Dedisa and myself serve on an interministerial committee whereby that's chaired by the Deputy President, and from there on a monthly basis, I've also been given the mandate now to go and look at land that's owned by the state-owned entities. And I've started that process because that land must also be put into the pot so that we can increase the hectares of land to speed up land reform in our country.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us this morning. We really do appreciate your time. That was Minister Patricia DeLille speaking to us about the arduous process of land reform in the country. And just to note, of course, as she mentioned, the ball is now in Minister Togo Titiza's court for the ultimate transfer of land, which in some cases was stolen 108 years ago.